We will be responsible with AI. We will be responsible with AI. That is basically the too long did not watch of the Google I/O 2023 presentation, but there is more to it. I'm Randalls.
And I'm George Lim.
So, as we predicted, it wasn't exactly the hottest take in the world, but Bard was mentioned a lot.
A lot. It was basically all they talked about for the first hour.
Exactly. As my perfectly adequate friend said in our predictions episode,
Bard. AI, Bard. Oh, also Bard.
First of all, Bard is now running on a Palm 2 model. They haven't gone into a lot of technical specifications on exactly how many parameters this model has yet, and fortunately that'll make this video a little bit dull. So I've been told not to go into that this time. So one of the first things that we saw for Bard being integrated in something is Gmail.
Yes.
And we saw Bard coming in to help you write an email, and you can even expand on what you're saying.
Basically, for Gmail and the whole G Suite, they've included Bard as this way to sort of expand what you're saying. You can literally, the example they show, I think was something like, tell Rick congratulations on the launch of the Pixel Fold, and it writes this really coherent email, signature block, the whole 9 yards. And it was genuinely very impressive at the speed it did it.
Yeah. Going the other way, you can go straight into Bard and export some of its responses straight into some of Google's apps, of course, like Docs, into Gmail. And one of the most impressive things was how it ties into some of other Google services like Lens.
Yeah, so with Lens, you can include photos as source now. So before it was just text, but you can now put a photo in and go, say something about this photo, and it can see the photo, which I think only ChatGPT 4 is currently capable of. So it was really impressive that they're already bringing this functionality wider, and they've also removed the Bard waitlist, so now anyone can use it now within Bard itself.
Yeah, it's all just making it a lot more functional. One of the other impressive demos was doing a Bard search for local schools, which you could then move into Google Maps, see all where they're mapped out, and then go even further, so you can bring up a spreadsheet of exact details about that school. You can add in columns like they did in the demo to see whether they're public or private, and then again export that all into Sheets and share it with whoever you want. Part
of me is wondering whether Google was holding this all back for I/O and just kind of going, you can talk to Bard and Bard will give you answers, and everyone was like, well, that's a bit disappointing. We kind of expected more from Google, king of AI. And then I/O came out and they go, oh, and you can now also do all of this. So I'm wondering if Google was holding back and then kind of just gave us all of this in one go.
Yeah, it definitely feels that way. But we also saw a brief glimpse of how Bard is going to be expanded with third-party tools. So importantly, we saw Adobe Firefly being moved into Bard.
Which surprised me because of, I was kind of expecting Google to go down their own route. But actually, it makes a lot of sense, and a lot of the things they were talking about throughout the entire sort of keynote led to this. And using another tool that already exists, actually, I think Google are onto a winner there.
Definitely, and that's exactly what AI are doing with ChatGPT as well. They've got plugins which can start pulling in actual real-time information from services like Wolfram Alpha.
So they've also brought Google Labs back from the dead. So Google Labs was discontinued in 2011. Back here it is in 2023, a bit like us.
Something's come back out of Google's graveyard?
Yeah, apparently so. So they announced search capability. So the generative AI Bard stuff is now in search. You can sign up for a waitlist, only if you're in the United States. And they've also announced another tool called Tailwind, which I believe is currently just sort of a demo tool, but it was the way that they called it your personalized notebook. Put your stuff into Google Drive and other things like that, and Tailwind would pull the information out and show you it in this really clever way. So the example they used on stage was school notes. So they've been testing it with universities, and actually it looks damn impressive for what it can do. And for someone like a student who wants to sort of do study notes and stuff, it generates those study notes from your own notes and then mixes it in with the web stuff. So again, using the AI to properly enhance just a simple task of just studying. So that was damn impressive as well.
As I said at the start of the episode, Google wanted to make a big point about responsible use of AI. So one of the good things that they're doing is watermarking AI-generated content.
Yes,
so
absolutely.
You can hopefully be able to detect when content is actually AI-generated.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be a huge step forward for the general AI conversation, because at the moment, with fake news and fake images and all that sort of thing, it's one of the bits we don't quite have a grasp of yet. And I think if Google is at the forefront of this, I think we're onto a winner.
Mm-hmm. So speaking of images, we also had Magic Editor, which kind of was, as to use your phrase from the Google I/O predictions episode, was that the last episode?
Yep.
It's all getting a bit blurry. Was just, I think, Google flexing and just trying to one-up Apple.
Which, to be fair, they achieved, because I was blown away by some of the stuff they showed off. Just the ability, Apple have announced the ability to pick people out of a picture. Great, fine, I use it for the thumbnails and various things like that. But to be able to move it, pick it up, move them, and then create bits of image that didn't
AI
exist.
generates it behind.
Yeah.
It's super impressive.
The example they showed with the little boy and the balloons on the bench, I was like, okay, well that's something else. And then changing the sky and then having the image change lighting based on the sky. Again, they're absolutely flexing. But what I found interesting was they brought a Magic Eraser to the iPhone with Google One. It wouldn't surprise me if they did the same with Magic Editor, and really hammering into those services. We are not just trying to push pixels, we're trying to push our tools and sort of learn more so that we can help develop these tools further. I don't know what's going to come after Editor.
That's a very good point. Now I have to give a shout out to my fiance, because she did a little bit of I think it was supposed to be a half joking predictions for what was going to happen, and she predicted that drone mode would be coming to Google Maps. It's pretty much what happened. We saw immersive view for routes, so you can have a proper sort of flyover of whatever route you want.
I really liked this. I just liked how it looked, the cars moving, the weather changing. It was really cool.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it was a bumper-packed Google I/O, so we're splitting this into 2 episodes, and our next one is going to be covering all of the Android-based announcements. But for this episode, make sure you pop in the comments your thoughts on all of the AI and services announcements, and we hope to see you again in the next one.